In this video, I'll be talking about my translation of Huangbo's Wanling Record, Section 5. Okay, as you can see, Section 5 is quite a long section, and there are actually 3 questions asked by Pei Xiu. Okay, question 1, question 2, and question 3. So let's go on. So Pei Xiu asks, do Buddhas cross over sentient beings or not? Okay, if you recall in section 4, the previous video, Huangbo mentioned that the so-called crossing over are just methods or means. They are not actually related to Buddha mind, which is the end. Okay, so what Huangbo is trying to say is not to confuse the means for the end. So in this section, Pei Xiu is probably trying to clarify. So do Buddhas cross over sentient beings or not? Okay, sort of like in this picture, where you have a boatman who will ferry the passenger across to the other side. So teacher said, teacher here refers to Huangbo. There are actually no sentient beings the Tathagata crosses over. Okay, Tathagata is actually another name for Buddha. So it's like in a way like an empty boat. There are no sentient beings and there are no Buddhas to cross over. And Huangbo explains, since self-I cannot be attained, how so can non-self-I be attained? Okay, this self-I that cannot be attained is probably referring to the famous anatta teaching, okay, the no self or non-self or not self teaching, which is one of 3 marks of Dharma, okay, where it said that there's no existent self that can be found, okay, that can be attained. So this is the anatta teaching. Okay, all dharmas are said to be without self. So since self-I cannot be attained, how so can non-self-I be attained? Buddhas and sentient beings all cannot be attained. Okay, you can't actually find a Buddha, an existent Buddha, an existent sentient being. And in this context, non-self-I, okay, non-self-I probably refers to other beings. Okay, the so-called Buddhas and sentient beings, they are not me. Okay, so self-I cannot be found, cannot be attained. This is the I, the me. Can't find me. Okay, and if me, I cannot be attained, it means that other sentient beings or other Buddhas or other beings, they cannot be attained too. So I cannot be attained, others cannot be attained, Buddhas and sentient beings all cannot be attained. So Pei Xiu asks again, this is second question. There are the manifestation of 32 characteristics of Buddhas to help cross over sentient beings. How is it that you say there aren't? Okay, how is it that you say that there are no Buddhas, no sentient beings? Okay, no self, no I, none of all these things. It doesn't mean that there is nothing. So it's probably a question that many of us will be interested in. Okay, so are there Buddhas or are there no Buddhas? Are there sentient beings or are there no sentient beings? So let's first talk about the 32 characteristics. Okay, it's said that there are 32 physical characteristics associated with the Buddha, like that of deep resonant voice, long broad tongue, and well-rounded shoulders, if I'm not wrong, and many other characteristics, including this whorl between the brows. And if I'm not wrong, it's called Una. Okay, if you notice the images made of Buddha, it's often depicted a white dot or a dot in between the eyebrows. Supposedly a whorl of white hair, okay, spinning round between the eyebrows. It's called Una. And in some meditative contemplation technique used is to visualize this Una, this whorl. Okay, that's one of the meditative contemplation made to visualize the Buddha. And also the protuberance on the crown of the head. If I'm not wrong, this is called Ushnisha. Okay, this protuberance on top of the head of a Buddha. So these are characteristics used in visualizing the Buddha in some Buddhist contemplation technique, okay, as a means to realize Buddhahood. So there are the manifestation of these 32 characteristics of Buddha. So Pesu is asking, how is it that you say there are no Buddhas? And teacher Huangbo said, all that have characteristic are all empty delusions. If every characteristic is seen to be non-characteristic, then the Tathagata is seen. Okay, again, Tathagata is another name for Buddha. This is actually a quote from Diamond Sutra. Okay, all that have characteristic are empty delusions. Buddhas and sentient beings are all delusive views you've constructed. Because there is no recognition of original mind, you have been deceived into constructing interpretive views. Okay, Buddhas and sentient beings are all delusive views you've constructed. Typically, such Buddhist teachings, which are in relation to anatta, boggle those who come upon them. Okay, what does it mean? Are there Buddhas or are there no Buddhas? And here it said that Buddhas and sentient beings are all delusive views you've constructed. So am I real? Are other people real? Are sentient beings real? Are Buddhas real? Okay, according to Buddhism, no, they are all delusive views. So are there Buddhas or not? Are there sentient beings or not? Or is everything a delusion? Is there nothing at all? This is some of the common problem people who come upon Buddhism face. Okay, and is there nothing at all? That's some of the questions that people will ask. One of the main reasons is because our mind struggles to find something substantially existent to cling on to. And so that from there we can conceptualize and construct a view of the world based on it. It is something that our so-called mundane mind struggles to do all the time. But Buddhism teaches all they have characteristic are empty delusions because they are dependently originated. Okay? They do not have their own existent substance. They are dependently made or originated from other things. And so they are like emergent phenomena dependent on causes and conditions. As such, they do not have independent substantial existence. Just like you say a car. Is there a car? But a car is made out of parts. There isn't an independent substantial existence of a thing called car. It's actually made out of parts. Okay, same with like fire and some other phenomenon. Okay, they are emergent phenomenon dependent on causes and conditions. So it is said that ultimately there isn't any existent Buddhas or existent sentient beings. So ultimately, what is the basis of all these beings and things and phenomena and all that we see? What ultimately is the basis of all these things, of all these beings, and of all these phenomena? Okay, Zen Buddhism sometimes call this basis the original mind. Okay, original mind. Because there's no recognition of original mind, you have been deceived into constructing interpretive views. And this is from Essential Dharma of Mind Transmission, Section 1, Part 14. Is another text of Huangbo's sayings, okay, which I have translated and posted up about a few years ago. Okay, so this is from this text of Huangbo, Section 1, Part 14. It is this original source, clear, pure mind that is with all sentient beings, Buddhas, and all mountains and rivers of the world, pervading characteristically or non-characteristically throughout the realms of all 10 directions, thoroughly even and equal, without the characteristic of self and others. This is the original source, clear, pure mind, constantly on its own, shining everywhere in perfect illumination. Worldly people don't realize this because they only recognize the seeing, hearing, sensing, knowing as mind. Enveloped by the seeing, hearing, sensing, knowing, they do not therefore witness the essential luminance of the original basis. Okay, the original basis. But in proceeding straight down to no mind, the original basis manifests by itself, like the great orb of sun rising in empty sky, shining throughout all 10 directions without any obstruction at all. Therefore, students of the way recognize the seeing, hearing, sensing, knowing not as mind, but only as disbursement of activity. So one of the key emphasis of Huangbo is that of a recognition of original mind, or the original basis, also the original face, the one mind, the ancestor, or all sorts of names used by Zen teachers. But the key emphasis is this direct experiential realization of the original mind. Okay, not by inference, not by interpretation, okay, but by direct experiential realization. So this is the key emphasis of Zen teachings. Because without this recognition of original mind, one will have been deceived into constructing interpretive views. Okay, and Huangbo continues to say, just construct a view of Buddha, thus be obscured by Buddha. Construct a view of sentient being, thus be obscured by sentient being. Construct the mundane, the holy, the pure, the filthy, and various such views. They all become their respective obscurations to obscure you. The mind's hence altogether forms a turning wheel. Okay, not sure if this turning wheel is alluding to samsara, in the continuous cycle of rebirth. Just like a macaque monkey that is releasing one and grabbing another repeatedly without a moment of rest. So if you construct a view of Buddha, or construct a view of sentient being, and all these views, different views that constructed, will all together form a turning wheel. Okay, it's like the mind behaving like a monkey, releasing one and grabbing another repeatedly. And this is a reference to the Nirvana Sutra, where it says, another sutra states that the mind of sentient beings are like macaque monkeys, abandoning one to seize another without stoppage. So all these views that we have, okay, is like the mind continuously releasing one and then grabbing another, okay, sort of forming a turning wheel. This other sutra mentioned by the Nirvana Sutra is probably the Ikottara Agama or Samyukta Agama. Okay, so in the Samyukta Agama, it is said that the mind, okay, specifically the Citta Manas Vijnana, of mundane people who have not heard the sound of Buddha's teaching, is described to be like a macaque monkey swinging across trees, releasing one branch to grab onto another continuously. And in that sutra, the explanation mentioned for such monkey mind is that of protective self-attachment, okay, by clinging continuously to the four great forms of earth, wind, fire, and water. Okay, so it's like the monkey probably afraid of falling down and injuring itself. It just keeps on holding on to one branch after another. So probably the views that we have are similar to something like that. Okay, our attachment to different views, clinging and holding on to them. So what is like the solution? Okay, in that sutra, the teaching given is to arouse nibbida, okay, which is a disenchantment. Okay, no longer enchanted by the different views. Okay, disenchantment, and depart from craving through skillful meditative contemplation of dependent origination, cessation. Okay, contemplating and observing the origination and cessation of all sorts of perceptions and visayas and sensory objects. Okay, this is the teaching given there in Samyukta Agama Sutra. Okay, in the Ikottara Agama Sutra, the explanation mentioned for such monkey mind of repeatedly releasing one to grab onto another is that of the mind being unsettled. Okay, previously in the other sutra, the explanation given is that of protective self-attachment. Okay, in this sutra, the explanation given is that of the mind being unsettled. Okay, not still, not collected. Or nowadays we probably will say not concentrated. And the advice given is that of constantly subduing the mind. Okay, specifically citta manas. Okay, I mentioned in this sutra. Okay, subduing the mind and to orientate towards the way. Okay, the Buddhist way, the Buddhist path. And the sutra said this is to be regarded as studying or learning. Okay, studying. Okay, it's mentioned here the way. According to Huangbo, what is the way? I can't remember in which section it said, but according to Huangbo, no mind is the way. Okay, or absence of mind is the way. Specifically, the term Wu Xing. Okay, if you note the character Wu, this is the famous Wu of Zhao Zhou also, about the nature, Buddha nature of the dog. Okay, it's the same Wu. The Japanese call it Mu. Okay, but Chinese we will pronounce this as Wu. So the way is, no mind is the way, or absence of mind is the way. Wu Xing. So the mind, hands all together, forms a turning wheel, just like a macaque monkey that's releasing one and grabbing another repeatedly without a moment of rest. Okay, this monkey mind. And Huangbo says, the foremost level of study should proceed straight till the absence of what's studied. Okay, again, absence. You will see the character here, Wu. Okay, absence, Wu. So what sort of studied? What sort of studying? Studying till whatever that is studied is absent. Okay, Wu, absence, or no. And Huangbo continues, absent of mundaneness, absent of holiness, absent of pureness, absent of filthiness, absent of greatness, absent of smallness, absent of ashrava, absent of samskata. So mundaneness and holiness, in one of the previous videos I've already mentioned it. Mundane people are those who have not seen the way. The holy ones or the noble ones are the ones who have seen the way. Okay, pureness, probably related to the pure Dharma, is to help to curb those of the impure. Greatness may be referring to the vehicle, great vehicle, Mahayana. And then smallness, the small vehicle. So in regards to the one vehicle, or the Buddha vehicle, or the one mind, it's absent of all these things, absent of the being called the great vehicle or the small vehicle and all such things. All these are absent. Okay, what about ashrava and samskata? Okay, ashrava is low. Literally in Chinese it means leak, leaking. Okay, in a Buddhist context, more like canker, influx, outflow, or basically mental defilement that perpetuates samsara. Okay, perpetuate the continuous cycle, keep going on and on, up and down, on and on. Okay, this is ashrava. Samskata is way. Okay, of the famous Wu Wei. Some of you have heard that term from Taoism, from the Tao Te Ching, Wu Wei. Okay, in a Buddhist context, Wei Samskata is related to karmic activity or conditioning action. Okay, activities that creates karma. As such, in one mind, expediently servicing the Vyuha. Okay, this is actually a quote from the Brahma Jala Sutra or the Brahma Net Sutra. Okay, the Mahayana version of this sutra. And it's a quote on the sitting meditation to be done upon the completion of a repentance and prostration ritual. So this sutra focuses on Bodhisattva precepts and on the repentance and prostration ritual to be done. Okay, if you have made some transgression and broken the precepts, okay, this is the ritual for repentance. So this is a quote from this sutra on the sitting meditation to be done upon the completion of this ritual. So in this sutra, the practitioner is to contemplate deeply on his or her transgressions to arrive at the actual characteristic, okay, of the transgression, which is the original or primordial Buddha's samadhi. How this meditative contemplation is done is by recollecting and examining the characteristic of non-characteristic of all dharmas, to be as such in one mind, to service the Vyuha. So, what does Vyuha means? Okay, 庄严. So, 庄严 Vyuha basically means proper configuration or arrangement. Okay, proper as according to Buddhism. Okay, proper configuration arrangement. Usually translated as ornamentation or adornment. Okay, 庄严. So what sort of Vyuha is to be serviced? So there are actually two Vyuhas to be serviced. In Brahmajala Sutra, the two Vyuhas, the two proper configuration and arrangement to be serviced with regards to repentance are the blessing Vyuha, 福德庄严, and wisdom Vyuha, 智慧庄严. Performing the repentance prostration ritual is called blessing Vyuha, whereas the sitting meditation, okay, the meditative contemplation to be done after the ritual is called wisdom Vyuha. And in the sutra it said that performing the ritual without doing the contemplation is said to be not clearing the transgression from its source. So if you don't do the contemplation, you are not clearing it from its source. Whereas if you are only doing the contemplation without performing the ritual, it's said to be not stopping the transgression of its flow. So what does this mean? Okay, the example given in the sutra is that of a polluted well, okay, a well of water, polluted well. Both the source of pollution and the old polluted water must be cleared. If not, the water in the well will remain polluted. So if you only do the contemplation, you just clear the source of pollution. So the well stops getting additional pollution, but the old polluted water still there. If you draw water from the well, the water is still polluted. Whereas if you only clear the old polluted water from the well, you may think that, oh, then the well water is clean, but the source of pollution is still there. The well water will still get polluted. So both the source of pollution and the old polluted water must be cleared. If not, the water in the well will remain polluted. So this is why both the two vyuhas are to be serviced. Okay, the blessing vyuha and the wisdom vyuha. So this specific quote here, the vyuha here slightly to be the wisdom vyuha. Okay, the contemplation of non-characteristic, so as to arrive at the original Buddha's samadhi. Okay, so according to Brahmajala Sutra, who is the original Buddha? The original Buddha is Vairochana Buddha, which in Buddhism sometimes is taken to be the Dharmakaya also. So in order to be as such in one mind, to arrive at such a samadhi, the contemplation is that of non-characteristic. Okay, you realize all the wu, okay, so many of them. Okay. So contemplation of non-characteristic. And Huangbo continues with, heard that you have studied the 3 vehicles and the 12 divisions of teachings. So probably he's saying he knows that Peisil is well studied in a Buddhist doctrine, okay, having studied the 3 vehicles and the 12 divisions of teachings. So what are the 3 vehicles? They are the Shravaka Yana, or what we call the sound hearer vehicle. Basically, they are the disciples of Buddha who have heard the verbal teachings of Buddha. Then there is the Pratyeka Buddhayana, what we call the conditional awakeners vehicle. So these are more like solitary practitioners who examine the dependent origination of conditional arising, conditional cessation, and through their own contemplation, they have awakened to Buddha's truth. So these are the practitioners of the Pratyeka Buddhayana. Then there is the Bodhisattva Yana. Okay, Bodhisattvas are those who are practicing to become Buddha. So the Shravaka Yana and Pratyeka Buddhayana, most of them are going for the Arhat fruit. Whereas the Bodhisattvas, they are going for the Buddha fruit, aiming for Buddhahood. And quite likely in Tang Dynasty, the Bodhisattva Yana probably refers to those Bodhisattvas practicing the 6 paramitas. Okay, so you can also say it's the Paramita Yana. And the issue, of course, for these Bodhisattvas practicing the 6 paramitas is that you take them kalpas before they can become Buddha. One kalpa is the time between the creation of a universe to the end of the universe. And Bodhisattvas training under the 6 paramatas have to go through many kalpas before they can arrive at Buddhahood. So these are the 3 vehicles. Okay. What about the 12 divisions of teachings? They are basically a classification of Buddhist scriptures into 12 categories. Nowadays, we classify the scriptures mainly according to 3 categories. Okay, what's known as the Tripitaka, the 3 baskets. So the Tripitaka, the 3 classifications are the Sutra, what we call the discourses, Vinaya, the rules, the codes of conduct, okay, the disciplinary regulations, and Abhidharma, okay, commentaries, or you can say the philosophies made of Buddhism, okay, treatises, commentaries made. So Buddhist scriptures are classified nowadays according to these three categories. And this is a picture of a Korean monastery. They are a collection of the Buddhist scriptures. So heard that you have studied the 3 vehicles and the 12 divisions of teachings, yet all interpretive views should still be let go of. So as stated by Huangbo earlier, the foremost level of study should proceed straight till the absence of what studied. Okay, absence. So that's why all interpretive views should still be let go of. But it is to be noted also that in Zen teacher Gui San's or Wei San's admonition, it's said that those who are unconcerned with the Buddhist doctrines do not have the necessary causes to accord realization to the profound way. So when we read Buddhist or Zen texts, okay, or listen to the Zen teachings, we have to be careful because some people may misinterpret such statements to mean that you should not study Buddhist scriptures. Okay, Buddhist scriptures are to be rejected. That's not true. Okay, the main thing is that all interpretive views of the scriptures should still be let go of. Okay, as what Gui San actually or Wei San actually said here, those who are unconcerned with the Buddhist doctrines do not have the necessary causes to realize the profound way. So it's actually important to study the Buddhist scriptures, the Buddhist teachings. Just that all interpretive views should still be let go of. And from the many offhand quotations of sutras and sastras, Huangbo must have studied several of the Buddhist scriptures well also. Okay, if you watch the few videos that I've made of Wanling Record, you have seen Huangbo quoting many times of sutras and sastras. So Huangbo continues with, therefore, remove all there is, only setting a dais to rest the sickness in lying down. So again, this is a quote, and this time a quote from the Vimalakkhati Sutra. Okay, what is a dais? It's sort of like a sitting, resting, or even sleeping platform. Okay, slightly elevated. And this is a painting of the Tun Huang mural of Vimalakkhati resting on this dais, and Manjushri with his accompaniment of other beings coming to visit Vimalakkhati. So Vimalakkhati actually removed everything from his room or from his house, and only setting a dais to rest the sickness in lying down. So he actually used his special powers to remove everything in his house or everything in his room, leaving only this dais or this platform. Just to not arise any view. Okay, remove all there is, only setting a dais to rest the sickness in lying down. Just to not arise any view. So you probably have realized Huangbo's emphasis on views. Not to arise any view. Okay, don't construct any view. All these views are obscurations. Okay, they obscure you from the original mind. When not a single Dharma can be attained, there is no obscuration by Dharma. So this is a rather common theme. Okay, not a single Dharma can be attained. We can actually find it in sutras like the Precious Star Dharani Sutra, and also in the sastras like Commentary on the Great Perfection of Wisdom. It's a fairly common theme in Buddhist scriptures. Not a single Dharma can be attained. Just like the teaching of anatta, okay, all dharmas are without self. Okay, the self or I cannot be attained. So why did Huangbo make this statement and repeat this common theme of Buddhism? Because probably whatever Dharma taught, whatever Dharma studied, including this Dharma here, people tend to cling to it and form views based on it. You probably have seen some people quoting all sorts of teachings by Zen teacher and claim that is to reject this, reject that. Okay, and they cling to whatever that's been said and taught and form views based on it to say that Zen is a rejection of this, rejection of that. Okay, so it's important to understand that when not a single Dharma can be attained, there is no obscuration by Dharma. Okay, not to cling on whatever that's been taught and to form views based on it. And then there will be no obscuration. And that's why in the Diamond Sutra, Buddha said, I have not attained the slightest bit of Dharma, of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And so this is named Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Okay, this Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi actually means the unsurpassed, excellent or perfect awakening or enlightenment. Okay, in this perfect, unsurpassed awakening or enlightenment, Buddha has not attained the slightest bit of Dharma. Okay, there's no attainment at all. And so this is named Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, the attainment of no attainment. It has penetrating free of the Trilokyas desire of mundaneness and holiness. One then attains to the name of world-transcending Buddha. So what is a Trilokya? Okay, it's Sanjie. It refers to the three spheres or realms of desire, or the realm of form, and the realm of formlessness. So in the sphere of or realm of formlessness, okay, it is where the beings are called devas, heavenly beings, who are in formless absorption. That's where they reside, in the sphere of formlessness, or the realm of formlessness. In the realm of form are jhana dwelling devas, okay, heavenly beings dwelling in dhyana. What about the realm of desire? That's where we are, in the realm of desire, where humans, animals, the hungry ghosts, the hell beings, these are the beings residing in this realm, the realm of desire. Okay, there are some devas, some heavenly beings residing in this realm also, like Mara. Okay, Mara is actually, you can even say, is the lord of this realm. Okay, he won't want anyone to escape this realm, He wants to rule them by desire. That's why when Buddha, before he became Buddha, he sat under the Bodhi tree and was about to be enlightened or awakened. Mara actually appeared before him to try to tempt him and to stop him from so-called leaving this realm of desire. Okay, so this is Trilokya or Triloka, Sanjie. Visaya, Jing. Okay, sense object or sense sphere which denotes the range of the senses and their objects, okay, or content of experience. So what Huangbo is saying is when you are no longer obscured by Dharma, okay, you can penetrate free of all the three realms and all the sense objects, sense spheres of mundaneness and holiness. And once you have arrived at this or attained this, you can then be called world transcending Buddha. Okay, one then attains to the name of world transcending Buddha. Therefore, it is said. Okay, again, once we see this, we know Huangbo is gonna start quoting either a sutra or sastra. Okay, therefore, it is said, kowtowing to the Buddha is like emptiness that's without any dependence. Okay, this is a quote from, again, Vimalakkhati, Vimalakkhata Sutra, of a poem presented by an elder, okay, a respectful elder, as he prostrates with his head to the ground, or what we will call kowtow, before the Buddha's feet. Okay, something like this. Okay, with the 2 feet and the 2 arms and the head on the ground. Okay, his head before the Buddha's feet. And in this poem, the elder praises the various powers of prostration. And can actually be linked to the 2 vyuhas mentioned earlier of the repentance prostration ritual and meditative contemplation of non-characteristic, okay, also known as emptiness. So the prostration here, the kowtowing to the Buddha, is like emptiness that's without any dependence. Okay, that's beyond any Tika sway. Okay, Tika sway, Wai Dao. It refers to the non-Buddhist or heretics way. Some people will say the outsider's way. It means it's not the Buddhist way. So kowtowing, prostration, or worshipping to the non-Buddhist is probably some sort of clinging or craving or grasping. But in Buddhism, kowtowing, prostration is supposed to be like emptiness that's without any dependence. And such a worshipping is beyond any Tika sway. So sometimes you will read Zen texts of monks prostrating, or even Zen teachers, before they become Zen teachers, prostrating to their teacher. This is actually how they prostrate. Okay, it's not as what some translation put it as, just bowing, like that of a tipping of the head. Generally, the prostration is done in such a way. Huangbo goes on to say, since mind does not differ, Dharma also does not differ. Since mind is absent of samskata, Dharma is also absent of samskata. Okay, again, samskata, way, karmic activity or conditioning action. The 10,000 dharmas are all conjured due to mind. Okay, and dharma is dependent on mind. Therefore, when my mind is empty, every dharma is empty. The 10,000 grades and 10,000 classifications are all thoroughly known to be the same. So this is actually a quote of Zen teacher Baozi, or Zigong, a contemporary of Bodhidharma. Not all Zen teachers are from the lineage of Bodhidharma. Okay, there's also Zen teacher Baozi, Zigong. Except for this quote, Baozi said it as, my body is empty. Okay, my body is empty, instead of mind. So this time Huangbo actually changed it a little. Not sure because if he misremembered or he just happened to fit what he's trying to say here about mind. So he quoted as, my mind is empty, every dharma is empty. The 10,000 grades and 10,000 classifications are all thoroughly known to be the same. Okay, the rest here are exact quote of Zen teacher Baozi, except the mind part is supposed to be body. So the 10,000 grades and 10,000 classifications, all the different grades and classifications done in Buddhism, all these things, are actually the same. Okay, this is what Zen teacher Baozi is saying. Throughout all 10 directions of the empty realm, it is the same one mind basis. This is what the Lotus Sutra is also trying to say. Okay, the Ikayana, the one vehicle. There are no two vehicles, three vehicles. There's only one vehicle. And it's also something related to the Lankavatara Sutra. Okay, it's all the same one mind. The same mind being spoken about by different Buddhas. Mind originally does not differ. Dharma also does not differ. It's only because of your differing interpretive views that there's discrimination. So it's to be noted that interpretive views aren't just at the conceptual level. Okay, different views that we hold. These views actually work also at the perceptual level. Like the Devas. Devas are heavenly beings. Okay, like the Devas sharing the same jeweled utensil at a meal, following in accordance to their own blessing, the color, form of their rice differs. Okay, so this is a quote from Vimalakirti Sutra again, regarding the issue of mind and perception this time. Okay, whereby in accordance to the Deva's own blessing, or their own karma, the color and form of their rice differs. So the blessing or the karma actually affects their interpretive views of how things are like, how things are perceived. And it's a bit like jewels. Okay, it's the same piece of jewel, but different people, probably from different perspectives, will see it with different colors. So what actually is the color of the jewel? Okay, it depends on one's own karma, one's own blessing. So sometimes the mind is also said to be a manifold jewel. Okay. So blessing is basically good karma, while merit is related to realization or wisdom. Just like the two vyuhas mentioned earlier, the blessing vyuha and the wisdom vyuha. Okay, blessing in in Buddhism basically means good karma. Okay, blessing, 福德. While merit is called 功德, 功德. Okay, it's related to realization or wisdom. That is why when Emperor Wu, Liang Wuti, Emperor Wu asked if his actions had merit, Bodhidharma replied, no merit. Because what Emperor Wu did, his actions, they have karmic blessing, but no merit. So this is the exchange between Emperor Wu and Bodhidharma. Okay, Emperor Wu said, since ascending the throne, I had countless temples built and countless sutras copied. And the number of people becoming monks under my charge is countless. Please tell me about my merit. So Bodhidharma said, there is no merit. Emperor Wu said, why is there no merit? And Bodhidharma said, these things are causes for the small fruit of humanly and heavenly birth. Like shadows following form, although they are something, they are not real. So Bodhidharma says whatever they have done is like a blessing, okay, karmic causes for probably the birth of becoming a human again, or even becoming a heavenly being. But it's considered a small fruit, unlike the fruit that Buddhism actually advocates, either the Arhat fruit or the Buddha fruit, becoming an Arhat or becoming a Buddha. And such fruits of humanly and heavenly birth are still stuck within samsara. Okay, and they are dependent on karma. So like shadows following form, okay, dependent on something. Although they are something, they are not real. Okay, because they are dependent. As mentioned earlier, they do not have independent substantial existence. Okay, as long as they are dependently originated, they are not considered self. They are not considered real. So this is what Bodhidharma said to Emperor Wu. Emperor Wu asked, what is true merit? And Bodhidharma said, pure jnana, or wisdom, pure wisdom, of subtle perfectness, whose basis itself is empty and quiescent. So the basis is nirvanic and empty. Okay, this is with such a realization, with such a wisdom, or with such a knowledge, pure jnana, this then is true merit. This is what Buddhism is about. Okay, realizing the true nature, realizing the basis, the quiescent or the nirvanic, empty nature. So although blessing or good karma can allow one to arrive at favorable perceptual environment, okay, like that of a good human environment or a good heavenly environment, but it does not last. It's still subjected to samsara, still subjected to karma, and you will still go up and down, round and round. Okay, like a turning wheel, it does not last. Okay, impermanence. So that's the problem of blessing or good karma. But certain Buddhist practices, like meditative contemplation, can allow one to arrive at lasting merit. Okay, the realization of emptiness, realization of nirvana, realization of the true nature, realization of the original mind. Okay, this is lasting merit. In Zen Buddhism, Hua Tou practice, okay, or the word head, phrase head practice, or even koan practice, koan practice, and also silent illumination, types of meditative contemplations to help one arrive at realization. So these are some of the popular practices in Zen Buddhism. The Buddhas in all 10 directions actually have not a bit of Dharma you can attain. This is named Anu Bodhi. Okay, again, not a bit of Dharma that can be attained. And this is probably Huangbo's favorite sutra reference, and it's from Diamond Sutra. It's quoted several times in Essential Dharma of Mind Transmission. Okay, another Huangbo text. Okay, he actually quoted it several times. And here in Wanling Record, he's quoting it again. What is Anu Bodhi? It's again Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, which means unsurpassed, perfect, excellent, awakening or enlightenment. Okay, and such a awakening or enlightenment is actually the attainment of no attainment. Okay, not a bit of Dharma you can attain. There's only the one mind that is actually absent of any differing characteristic. Also absent of light and hue, also absent of victory and defeat. Since victory is absent, Buddha characteristic is absent. Since defeat is absent, sentient being characteristic is absent. Okay, why victory and Buddha? Because Buddha is sometimes also known as the victorious one. Okay, he was not defeated by Mara and Samsara, so he's known as the victorious one. So such a formulation is quite common. Okay, it's quite a common Buddhist formulation, like in Diamond Sutra. Attainment of no attainment, the victory of no victory or defeat. So in realizing the original mind is actually a victory. But in such a victory and defeat are absent. Okay, there's no differing characteristic. Okay, absent of any differing characteristic. Okay, attainment of no attainment, victory of no victory or defeat. So we come to the third question asked by Pei Xiu. Okay, so it's the last question in section 5. Since mind is absent of characteristic, won't it be like no 32 characteristic and 80 types of good markings at all to transform and cross over sentient beings? Okay, again you see the word transform. Okay, Hua, like the transformational city or the conjured city. So as mentioned earlier by Huangbo, mind is absent of characteristic. And that's why Pei Xiu asks, won't it be like no 32 characteristic and 80 types of good markings at all to transform and cross over sentient beings? So the physical characteristics of Buddha is said to have 32 major marks and 80 minor marks of a great man. So this is the 32 characteristic and the 80 types of good markings. In Mahayana Buddhism, such a body of 32 major marks and 80 minor marks is usually considered to be that of the Sambhogakaya or Namanakaya. Okay, Sambhogakaya is like the manifestation of Buddha in visionary experiences, whereas Nirmanakaya is considered the manifestation of Buddha in our realm. Okay, some people will say the Siddhartha Gautama. Okay, that's the Nirmanakaya. Okay, Huangbo Xiyun is the manifestation of Buddha in visionary experiences. Okay, and such bodies are not considered to be the Dharmakaya. And that's why the teacher said, Huangbo said, the 32 characteristics belong to characteristic. And all that have characteristic are all empty illusions. Okay, this has been mentioned earlier already, but to note again, it's again a quote from the Diamond Sutra. Okay, all that have characteristic are empty illusions. The 80 types of good markings belong to form. And if it is true forms to see me, then it is a person practicing the improper way, okay, or the crooked way. The Tathagata can't be seen by him or her. Okay, again another quote from the Diamond Sutra. Okay, if it is true forms to see me, then it is a person practicing the improper way. The Tathagata can't be seen by him or her. So Tathagata, in Chinese we'll call Ru Lai, is a name Buddha sometimes used to refer to himself or other Buddhas. Okay, usually translated as Das Come or Das Come One or Das Gone One. So this is the Tathagata. And perhaps it's worth pondering just how the Tathagata can be seen. Okay. Similarly in Zen, just how do you see the original face? How do you realize the original mind? So just how the Tathagata can be seen. That's all we have for Wanling Record section 5. Okay, it's a long video. Thank you for watching this video.